And hello everybody, welcome to What's Next. I am Randy Saplata, former host of the wildly popular international business show Standing on the Edge. And today I'm going to go ahead and talk to you, or continue my conversation I had a couple of weeks ago about investing. And the line in particular that I want to go ahead and do is I want to gear this to people that are above average investors. And for those that want to be above average investors, because I think the best advice anybody can give is to, when it comes to what do you want to do for the average investor, it's don't be average. So basically today I'm just going to go ahead and make this a very short video. It's just going to be a quick little 5-point synopsis, if you will, about how to go about creating your own stuff. And here's the reason why I say create, because you might have heard in the news about insider talk and insider trading and insider this and insider that, stuff like that. You've got illegal insider trading and illegal insider news and whatever that's coming across. And then you've got legal insider trading and news and so on and so forth. I want those people who want to be above average investors to be on the legal side of the insider trading so they can go ahead and do that. The best way to do that is to create your own assets. And that actually is the very first part. You want to go ahead and create what you want to do. Now, if you have no idea how to go about doing that, then you're going to have to go ahead and do something different, okay? But either way, you want to have an idea. You want to map it out onto a piece of paper, a napkin, your computer, however you want, something like that. You want to decide where you want to go. Create this idea in mind, what you want to do for the future. And then you can go ahead and work your way back out of that. What do I mean by that? Well, that leads me to the next point, which is find your exit plan. And this is a very common thing in business. A lot of you are going, wait a second, I want to get into my investing. Now you're telling me before I do that, I have to find my exit and to get out. Why is that? Well, the reason for this is because even if you know what you want to do already, if you don't know when to get out, you're going to end up losing everything that you've put into it. It's just, it's a common thing. Happens all the time at casinos. It happens all the time in gambling. It happens all the time in lotteries. It doesn't matter if you don't have the mindset of this is where I'm stopping and I'm going to go ahead and pull out most, if not all, of my winnings at this particular time, and then go ahead and make up new rules from there, you will lose 100% of the time. And this is actually what the casinos count on. This is what the stock market counts on. This is what so many gamblers are trying to do by timing the market, so to speak. But you are not going to do that. So here's what I mean. Okay, let's say, for example, you have no idea how to create your own asset. So we're going to go ahead and use stocks for the time being as an example, excuse me. You buy your stock, whatever the stock is. We'll say at this point, we'll just use a S&P 500 index fund, okay? And it might be trading at the moment at, say, $5,500 or 5,500 is where it's at right now. You can go ahead and buy your share or 100 shares or however many you want to go ahead and do at a certain price point. But then you have to go, okay, I want to only have it until it reaches this next particular level. So let's say, for example, and I don't know if this is true right now because I don't know what it's trading at, but I'm going to make it nice and simple. Let's say you go ahead and buy your S&P 500 share for $100 a stock. $100 for one share, okay? You don't want to have just one share. You're going to go ahead and get 100 shares. And 100 shares, that's going to cost you a lot of money, okay? At $100, well, we're talking about $10,000 to go ahead and purchase this amount of stock for this. But again, this is just an example, okay? A lot of people would go, okay, I'm purchasing it. Now I'm just going to pray and pray and pray and hope that it goes up and up and up and up and up and never stop climbing. And this is where so many people get into trouble. because the smart investor, the professional investor, the people that have done it before and lost their shirt and started over again, they know that no stock ever continues to just go up. There's going to be times where it goes down. There's going to be times where it goes down dramatically. And there's going to be times where it goes to shoot the moon like a rocket, and off you go for a very long while. So the best thing for you to do is to go ahead and say, okay, I've purchased my 100 shares of S&P 500 stock. It is sitting at 5,500 right now, as we are looking on the scale when you pull it up on the charts. You might say, I'm going to hold on to those 100 shares until it reaches the 6,000 mark. When it reaches the 6,000 mark, then I'm going to go ahead and sell 75% of those shares. I'll still keep 25% into that particular fund, so that way if it does go ahead and continue up and shoot the moon or whatever, then you'll be able to go ahead and just enjoy the ride while you're doing that. Now, the best investors are going to do it this way. They're going to go ahead and say, okay, I've purchased my 100 shares of the S&P 500 stock, and I paid $10,000 doing it. Well, when it reaches the $10,000 and I can go ahead and pull that $10,000 back out of the market, whatever's left over, they'll just go ahead and let it play and let it run and let it go wherever it needs to go ahead and go. They're going to sell off just enough to get back their money so they can go ahead and take that same amount of money and use it somewhere else. So that's what I mean by creating your asset and finding your exit plan. You have to do these almost simultaneously, okay? You decide what it is you want to do first. You decide how long you want to go ahead and do it before you get up. Now, then you have to go ahead and move on to the next one. You have to make up certain rules. By the way, this works for any kind of investment, okay? It doesn't matter if you're into trading cards. It doesn't matter if you are in doing sports. It doesn't matter if you're making up a business. It doesn't matter if you're investing in houses or purchasing cars. It doesn't matter. All of these rules apply all the way across the board. These are principles that will never ever change. You make up the rules. Make up rules. Not necessarily rules that are going to work for everybody, but rules that are going to work for you. Because if you go ahead and try to use my rules, then you might be scared to death when certain things happen. And I'm just nice, cool, calm as a cucumber. And when stuff is not happening at all, and I'm getting super excited because of it, you might be going, this is taking too long. I don't understand what's going on. So you want to make up your own rules. You want to go ahead and make up certain things, such as, for example, you've already found out how far you want to go ahead and stay inside. But you might also find out, too, that if that same stock that you purchased, the 100 shares of S&P 500, excuse me, if they are flatlining, not going anywhere for, say, a month, you're going to go, this is taking a while. So what I can do then is I can go ahead and take some of that stock and move it to somewhere else. Or, again, sell off a small portion of it, purchase a little something here, do something or whatever. Or you can go ahead and make up, you can make up other rules, such as I will only go ahead and continue to go ahead and keep this particular stock if it goes up to a certain amount. But if it goes down to a certain amount, let's say it's, again, a 5,500 right now, you wanted it to go to 6,000. But if it went the opposite direction and went to 5,400 or even 5,300, you might be tempted to go ahead and sell it. But if you've made up your rules and saying, no, I'm going to go ahead and keep it no matter what, because it's a good stock and it's not going to drop all that much, in my opinion. Now, this is what your rules are, not mine. So you might say to yourself, okay, I will keep this stock even if it drops down to 5,200. I want it to go to 6,000, but if it drops to 5,200, I'm going to go ahead and cut my losses and sell off from there. Those are the type of rules that I'm talking about as well. The other rules are, Once again, if you wanted to go to 6,000 and all of a sudden you went ahead and jumped, you bought your stock, and immediately it starts climbing and climbing and climbing. You're getting excited. You're rubbing your hands. You're going, oh, this is fantastic. And within a week and a half, you think yourself, it's a genius, because you're at 5,800 instead of where you were. And you're going, oh, this is going to take like next to no time to go ahead and do. And so you start putting in more money into this particular thing, trying to catch and get better and move on, and so on and so forth. These are one of the rules you need to go ahead and think about beforehand too. If the stock goes up, are you going to purchase more? If the stock goes down, are you going to purchase more? If the stock goes up, you're going to sell more. These are all things that you have to do. So you create whatever it is that you want to go ahead and do. You find your exit spot. You make up the rules that are going to work for you and only for you, because they're not going to work for your mom. They're not going to work for your dad. They might utilize the same things, but they're going to have a different temperament. You want it to go ahead and be where you are. Are you willing to go ahead and lose your $10,000 if the stock goes down and you hang on to it? Are you willing to go ahead and sell off 50% of it once it goes up to 6,000 and continues on from there? These are the things you have to think about, because if you don't have these rules, you're just going to be playing, you're basically blown around by the wind while it's happening. Now here's the next thing, and this one is probably one of the most important things you have to do. You have to track your numbers. You have to keep track of that. Now I'm not talking about being a professional day trader. I'm not talking about following it on a hour-by-hour basis or even a minute-by-minute basis, because number one, you probably don't have the time and dedication to go ahead and follow that, and then you're going to get confused by all the other things that are happening and wonder, well, why does it look like this on a certain graph, and why does it look like another thing on a certain graph, and why, I don't understand the little acronyms or the abbreviations that they're talking about. This is what I mean by tracking your numbers. You want to go ahead and start learning these things. Find out where you are, know where you want to go. Watch it on a regular basis. I'd suggest at least probably once a week, if not every day. Once a week is better, because then you can see kind of smoothed out where it went during that time. Also, by the way, you want to remember this. You're never, ever, 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 ever going to go ahead and purchase something and immediately have a huge spike in the direction you want it to go. It's almost always guaranteed to go the opposite direction for a short while, and then it will correct itself and go from there. That's why you don't want to watch it minute by minute by minute, because it's not going to do what you want it to do. But track your numbers, find out again where you wanted to go, see how close you are. Once you've gotten to your goal of either a certain amount of time or a certain area, then you need to go ahead and follow through on what it was that you wanted to do, for your exit, so on and so forth. Okay, you followed your rules, you're tracking your numbers, you're ready to go. This happens again everywhere. Okay, the final thing that you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and regularly, after you've got to your exit. Now this may be in 6 months, this may be at the 6,000 mark, again at this particular stock, working for S&P 500. It might be whatever your goal was that you've accomplished or decided to cut loose. Take the money. You want to go ahead and revisit those rules that you made. You want to review those rules you made. If you like those rules, you can go ahead and replay those same rules. Do it again and again and again. And you're just reinvesting your money somewhere else using the same exact rules that you had from there. If you decide you don't like that set of rules, in other words, you think it's too long of a time period, or the goal is too much, you want to go ahead and break it down from 5,500 to 5,600, again, using that particular example, then you can go ahead and change those rules. This is more so to be able to match your temperament, okay? But I will say this, buying something and then hoping and praying that it becomes more valuable is not a great strategy. If you use what I just went ahead and told you, This is exactly what the rich do constantly in everything. They will do this in their investing. They'll do this in applying their business. They'll do this in their families and relationships. They'll do this in purchasing cars. It doesn't matter. This is what they do. Use these 5 examples and you're going to go ahead and be just fine. Now, here's the interesting thing. I found this by taking a long look at the first 5 books in the Bible. I'm Jewish. I'm naturally always looking at this one. Some people call it the Pentateuch. Some people call it the Torah. Some people call it just the first, the books of Moses in the Old Testament. Whatever it is, think of it this way, okay? I told you to create your own business, all right? That's a Genesis project. You want to find your exit spot. Well, that's Exodus. That's the getting out of the land of the familiar into something brand new. The third one, Leviticus, is all about making up rules for your boundaries, rules to make sure that you're not going to go ahead and get into trouble either with yourself or with somebody else or the government that's going around you or whatever the case is. Numbers, you're tracking those numbers. It's the same exact thing. You want to make sure that everything stays contained where you can go ahead and keep a good eye on it while you're at it. And then finally, the Deuteronomy, you're renewing, you're re-looking at, you're revisiting all of those rules that you made up in Leviticus from there. First 5 books of the Bible, the names tell you everything. This is a fantastic concept. I did not come up with this myself. A pastor by the name of Dr. Myron Golden went ahead and showed me while he was talking on a podcast about this as well. And I thought, oh, that's just a fantastic way of looking at things. This is exactly how you want to do it. Even if you don't like the Bible, even if you're not a Christian, even if you're not a Jew, even if you don't care what things that happen in the Bible say, these concepts are timeless. They've been used for hundreds and thousands of years successfully over and over and over and over and over again. It is not sexy. It's not designed to be sexy. But if you do this again and reapply and reapply and reapply and renew and revisit and grow and do what you need to do while you're at it and continue to make it better and better and better and better, you're gonna win more times than you're going to go ahead and lose. And that's always the best thing. That's always the name of the game. That's what you want to do. And then finally, once you finish doing everything, you decide, I'm done, I'm retiring, I'm not doing anything else, then it's time to go ahead and pass off that knowledge to the next person, just like Moses did to Joshua, right at the end of the last book of Deuteronomy. That's when you pass it off, and you can do the same thing, like I said, with a business. You can do the same thing with your cars, with your real estate, with your other stocks, your finances that you've got that you want to go ahead and leave an inheritance to somebody else. It doesn't matter. The principles are exactly the same. Use them well. I'll be going more and more deeper into these things throughout the next few weeks. So keep your eyes open for these videos. Thanks. Have a great time. Bye.